Okay, I'm going to kick off this deep dive with something that might sound a bit harsh, but I promise it comes from a good place, a place of, understanding.
Hit us with it. Sometimes we need that direct truth.
Right. If you listening right now have been plugging away at English for years, maybe 5, 10, even more, you know the grammar, you can read just fine, got tons of vocab, but you still can't actually speak without freezing up or hesitating like crazy.
Then you're studying English the wrong way.
Exactly. You're studying it wrong.
And look, that's the tough reality for so many learners, isn't it? They're smart, they've put in the hours, maybe they're a solid B1, even B2 level on paper.
Yeah, the knowledge is there.
The knowledge is absolutely there, but there's this huge frustrating gap between knowing the language and actually, using it, performing it in real time. They've nailed the input, but the output, it's just slow, sluggish.
Oh, I know that feeling so well. It's like I can understand a really complicated article, no problem. But the second someone asks me a simple question I wasn't expecting,
Freeze frame.
total freeze frame. My brain just grinds to a halt, starts trying to translate everything from my native language word by painful word. It's like a mental traffic jam.
That internal translation engine. That's the big boss we need to defeat today. And that whole struggle, it just proves one thing. Studying about English isn't the same as getting fluent in English.
Right. So the mission today isn't about finding some magic new textbook or app. It's a total mindset shift, really.
It really is. The key to actually getting that conversational fluency, that flow, is simple. Stop treating English like an academic subject you study.
And start treating it like a practical skill you practice. Start speaking it.
Exactly. And we've got 6 really powerful, practical techniques lined up, things designed specifically to bridge that knowing-doing gap. And honestly, a lot of these you can start using, like today.
Okay, sounds good. But before we jump into those techniques, maybe we should clarify what fluency even means, because I think people get it mixed up sometimes.
That's a really important point.
Mhm.
Often, when someone says, I want to be fluent, what they're actually picturing is perfection.
Yeah, like zero mistakes, perfect native accent, knowing every single word.
Right. And well, it's not fluency. That's
Yeah.
an impossible target, honestly. And chasing it just leads to frustration. Real fluency, the kind that actually lets you connect with people, it's much simpler.
Okay, what is it then?
It's the ability to speak smoothly without constantly stopping and starting, without long, awkward pauses, and definitely without that killer translation happening in your head.
So the words just flow.
Yeah, they flow naturally, kind of like a river. Smoothly enough that the person listening can focus on what you're saying, not how you're struggling to say it.
Okay, so it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're kind of prioritizing smoothness and speed over getting every single grammar point perfect, at least initially.
Absolutely. That's a necessary trade-off at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Who's easier to understand in a real conversation?
Mm.
Someone who speaks pretty quickly and naturally, even if they make a few small mistakes?
Mm.
Or someone who speaks perfectly, but takes like 5 seconds between every few words because they're mentally checking everything.
Definitely the first person. The second one is hard work to listen to.
Exactly. Flow beats perfection in real-world communication. We can always polish the grammar later. Right now, the mission is building that speed, that forward momentum, that speaking stamina.
That actually changes the goal completely.
Okay.
So let's dig into why speaking is so darn hard. You said it's like 2 problems in one.
Precisely. And this is fascinating, I think. To get fluent, you have to train 2 completely different systems at the same time. There's the physical side, and then there's the mental or cognitive side.
Let's start with the physical. That sounds kind of weird for language. I always thought it was all in the head.
Not at all. The physical system is literally your mouth, your tongue, your lips, all those muscles. They have to learn to make totally new sounds, combine them in tricky ways, and do it fast, smoothly, following English rhythm.
Okay, give me an example. What's physically hard?
Well, think about sounds English has that maybe your native language doesn't, like the sound. Lots of languages don't have that specific tongue between the teeth move.
Right.
Or tricky combinations, like in a word like rural, RL, right next to each other.
Yeah.
That requires quick, precise tongue movements. or just linking words together like native speakers do.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you speak your native language, it's all automatic. Your mouth just goes. It knows exactly what to do without you thinking. The muscle memory is totally ingrained.
Yeah.
You never consciously think, okay, tongue up for the L sound now.
Yeah, you're right. I never think about how my mouth moves when I'm speaking normally. It's invisible.
But for English,
Yeah.
your mouth is learning brand new choreography, new movements it's never done before, or at least not in those combinations or at that speed. So sometimes when you hesitate, it's not just your brain searching for a word.
It could actually be my mouth physically lagging behind, like it can't form the sounds fast enough.
Exactly. It's like learning an instrument or a sport. You need the muscle memory. You need mechanical practice. It's not just about knowing the notes. Your fingers have to be able to hit them quickly and accurately. That physical slowness adds to the overall feeling of being stuck.
Wow, okay. That makes so much sense. It's like doing drills in basketball. Knowing how to shoot isn't enough. You have to physically practice the movement thousands of times.
Precisely. It's muscle memory. That physical part is huge.
Okay, so that's the physical challenge, training the mouth muscles. Now, what about the mental side, the cognitive system? This is where that translation thing comes in, right?
This is the big one for most intermediate learners. Your brain needs to find the right words and string them together into sentences. Fast. And like we said, the #1 fluency killer, translating word for word from your native language in your head.
Yeah, that nightmare process.
Every single sentence becomes this slow, painful construction project instead of just flowing out.
And that's where those 5 horrible steps come in that just slow everything down to a crawl.
Let's walk through them again, because really understanding this is how you break free. Imagine someone asks you something totally normal, but maybe a bit unexpected, like, hey, what did you do after work yesterday?
Okay, simple question. Instant panic for many learners.
Exactly. So if you're relying on translation, here's the 5-step disaster that happens in your head. Step 1, you have the idea perfectly in your native language. Ah, I went to the gym with my brother. Crystal clear thought. Step 2, now the slow part starts. Word dot retrieval. You got to find the English equivalent for every single piece. Okay, went. Past tense of go, right? To dot the gym with dot my brother. Each lookup takes time.
And if you blank on just one word, the whole train stops.
Totally stalls. Step 3, grammatical assembly. Now you have to arrange those retrieved English words using English rules, which are probably different from your native language. Do I need the? Is the verb right? Where does yesterday go? Step 4, mental error check. Your brain quickly scans what it just built. Did I say go or went? Is the preposition okay? More delay. Step 5. Finally, after all that internal grinding, you manage to push the sentence out. And it sounds like expert speaker adopts a slow robotic voice. I went to the gym with my brother.
That's exactly it. That's why I sound like a robot sometimes. That whole process takes, what, 3, 4, 5 seconds? In a real conversation, that feels like an eternity.
It's an absolute conversation killer. It
Well,
guarantees you'll sound slow and hesitant. So the bottom line is, effective fluency practice has to hit both things. Dedicated exercises for the physical mouth mechanics and specific strategies to speed up the mental processing and kill that translator.
okay, got it. Physical muscles, mental speed. Makes sense. So let's get practical. What's the absolute #1 rule? If someone listening only does one thing differently after this, what should it be?
The single most important rule, the absolute foundation, is this. You have to get out there and actually speak English with real people, in real conversations, under a bit of pressure.
That sounds almost too obvious, but I know so many people, myself included sometimes, who treat speaking like the final exam, like I'll speak after I've studied enough.
And that's the core mistake. Speaking isn't the prize you get at the end. Speaking is the method you use to get there. Here's the simple truth. Reading helps your reading. Listening helps your listening. But only speaking actually improves your speaking fluency. It's a totally practical skill.
Right, like you said, it's not academic. It's like playing basketball or piano. You can't learn it just from a book.
Exactly. Imagine learning golf. You could read every instruction manual, watch every pro tournament. But until you actually step onto the course, swing the club, feel the pressure, deal with the unexpected, you haven't actually developed the skill.
Yeah.
The real learning, the muscle memory, the quick thinking, it happens by doing.
Okay, powerful analogy. So if speaking is the doing, how much doing do we need? What's a realistic target?
I strongly recommend setting a clear minimum goal. Aim for at least 2 to 3 hours of actual active speaking practice per week. And that means time where you are producing the language, responding, interacting.
2 to 3 hours. Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
pretty significant for busy people. And here's the pushback I always feel or hear. Okay, but if I speak for 2 hours and I'm making loads of mistakes, aren't I just practicing bad habits, teaching myself the wrong way?
That's a really common and understandable fear. But let me be very clear. The damage done by not speaking at all because you're afraid of making mistakes is far, far greater than the risk of reinforcing a few errors.
Okay, why?
Because when you're speaking, even imperfectly, you're building the essential machinery. You're training your mouth. You're practicing accessing words quickly. You're building that flow. If you only stick to theory, you might have perfect knowledge on paper, but zero speed or confidence in practice. Plus, those mistakes. They're not failures, they're data. You often only figure out what you really need to work on when you make the mistake in a real conversation. Someone might correct you, or you might notice it yourself. That immediate feedback is way more powerful than finding an error in a textbook exercise days later. You have to accept that the practice will be messy. But messy practice is 100 times better than no practice.
Okay, that helps. Focus on the doing, the flow, even if it's flawed. Learn from the mess. Got it. But the other big hurdle. I genuinely don't have anyone to talk to. You say it's an excuse, but sometimes finding people feels really hard.
I get that finding time and overcoming shyness is tough. I really do. But honestly, especially now with the internet, the resources are practically endless. Saying I have no one to talk to usually means I haven't actively looked for or prioritized using the options available.
Okay, fair enough. So let's make it concrete. Where should people look? What are the options?
All right, think online first. There are tons of language exchange websites and apps. Tandem, HelloTalk, Speaky, places like that designed specifically to connect learners. You teach them your language, they help you with English.
Okay, language exchange partners. What else?
You could use platforms like italki or Cambly to find affordable tutors or conversation partners for paid sessions. Even short, regular sessions help. Look for Discord servers focused on English learning. Many have voice channels for casual chat. Or check meetup.com for local language exchange groups in your city, if that's possible. The key is being intentional. Don't just vaguely hope for practice. Schedule it. Put a 30-minute exchange in your calendar twice a week and treat it like an important appointment you can't miss.
Okay, schedule it like a meeting. But what if someone is just incredibly shy? Or their schedule is so packed or unpredictable that coordinating with someone else is genuinely impossible right now? Is there anything they can do that's better than nothing?
Yes, absolutely. Self-practice. Talking to yourself. Recording yourself speaking. It sounds a bit strange maybe, but it's way better than just silently studying.
How does that help if there's no one responding?
It keeps the engine running. You can narrate your day out loud. Okay, now I'm making coffee. I need to find the filter. You can practice asking and answering common questions. Summarize an article you read, but say it out loud. While it lacks the back and forth pressure, it crucially trains the physical side, getting your mouth used to forming English sounds quickly. And it forces your brain to retrieve words and build sentences without translating, just like we discussed. It builds stamina and keeps the speaking muscles warm for when you do get a chance to talk to someone.
That's really valuable. Okay, so even solo practice counts for something significant. Now, let's tackle that other big barrier you mentioned, the mental pressure, the anxiety, that feeling when you have to speak and your mind just goes blank.
Yes, the performance anxiety, the spotlight effect. You asked earlier, how do we stop being nervous? How do we get to that magical place where speaking feels easy and comfortable?
Yeah, how do we just switch off the nerves?
Well, here's the insight that often surprises people and maybe disappoints them a little. You don't really stop being nervous.
Wait, what? Seriously, we never get fully comfortable. That sounds exhausting.
It can be. But think about it. Speaking a language that isn't your native one means you're constantly operating outside your comfort zone. Your brain is working harder, using pathways that are less automatic. It's inherently a bit stressful. Look, I've been speaking Spanish and Mandarin for years, right? Pretty fluently in most situations. But if I have to make an important phone call, like sorting out a bank issue or a doctor's appointment in one of those languages,
Oh, yeah, phone calls are the worst. No visual cues, just pure language pressure.
exactly. I still get that little knot of anxiety in my stomach beforehand.
Yeah.
Every single time. That nervous feeling, it's a natural reaction to a challenging situation. It
Yeah.
doesn't entirely disappear.
What happens then? How do people become fluent speakers if they're always nervous?
What happens is you build tolerance. You learn to accept the nervousness as just
Yeah.
part of the deal. You realize that feeling nervous doesn't actually mean you can't communicate. You learn to function, to speak through the nerves instead of letting them shut you down.
So the goal isn't to kill the fear, but just to ignore it or push past it.
More like acknowledge it, accept it's there, and do the thing anyway. It's that mindset shift. Okay, feeling nervous, normal. Now what I was trying to say. If you wait until you feel 100% confident and comfortable before you start speaking regularly, you'll probably never start. Because that confidence, it's built by speaking, especially when it feels a bit scary. Discomfort is where the growth happens.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, that's a big shift in perspective, but it makes sense. All right, we've covered the need to speak, the time commitment, and tackling the mental game of nerves. Now let's get into the really practical stuff, the training techniques, starting with the physical side, the mouth workout.
Right, let's get those mouth muscles in shape. Technique number 1, speed reading practice. This is a direct workout for your tongue, lips, and jaw.
Okay, how does this work exactly? Lay it out for us.
First step, find an easy English text, something simple.
Yeah.
A basic news story, a kid's book, a blog post where you already know, say, 85–90% of the words. The key is easy text, because the goal here isn't understanding, it's pure mechanics.
Got it. Don't want to be slowed down by unknown words. Focus on the speaking part.
Exactly. Now, get a timer. Your phone stopwatch is perfect. You can read that text out loud. Focus on being clear, but the main instruction is read it as fast as you possibly can. Push your speed limit.
As fast as possible. Okay, then what?
Time yourself reading a paragraph. Or maybe read for exactly 1 minute and see how far you get. Note your time or your place. Then immediately read the exact same piece of text again and try to beat your first time faster.
Ah, so repetition on the same text, trying to increase the speed each time.
Yes. You repeat it several times, maybe 3 to 5 times, always pushing to go faster than the last attempt.
What's the specific benefit here? Why does forcing speed help, even if I might stumble a bit?
Because forcing speed trains the physical pathways in your mouth to move more quickly and efficiently between English sounds. If you struggle with linking words smoothly or specific sounds like R or the, this high-speed repetition builds the muscle memory for those transitions. It literally reduces the physical delay between your brain sending the signal and your mouth producing the sound. It helps reduce that physical stutter or hesitation. Think of it like doing fast repetitions or sprints for your mouth muscles.
Okay, articulation sprints. Makes sense. Should I focus on text with sounds I find particularly hard?
Absolutely. If you know that the sound is tricky for you, find a text full of the words. If it's R and L, find something with lots of those. Target your weaknesses. And consistency is everything here. Seriously, even just 5 minutes of this every day will make a noticeable difference over time. Much better than doing an hour once a week.
I like that. No partner needed, just 5 minutes a day. Okay, technique number 2 for physical fluency.
Technique number 2, the singing method. This one's actually fun, and it's brilliant for forcing speed, rhythm, and natural English intonation without you even realizing it.
Singing, like karaoke for fluency.
Pretty much. Find an English song you like, something you actually enjoy listening to. Look up the lyrics online. Then play the song and sing along out loud. Try your best to match the singer's speed, pronunciation, and rhythm.
Okay, but how does singing help my speaking? It feels different.
It's different, but incredibly helpful. See, when you sing along to a song, you have to keep up with the music's tempo and rhythm. You can't pause to think about grammar. You can't slow down to translate. The music pulls you along, forcing you to produce the sounds at a natural English pace. It also helps you internalize the natural music of English, which words get stressed, which sounds get reduced or linked together, things like gonna, wanna, how native speakers connect words. You absorb that rhythm automatically when you sing.
Ah, okay. So it forces you to bypass the translation and just keep up with the flow while absorbing the natural sound patterns.
Exactly. Start with maybe slower songs, ballads perhaps, where the lyrics are clearer. As you get more comfortable, try faster songs. Just pick one song, learn it, and sing along once or twice a day. Do that consistently for a couple of weeks, and I promise you'll feel your spoken English becoming smoother and more naturally rhythmic.
Nice. I like that one. Okay, mouth workouts covered with speed reading and singing. Now let's switch to the brain. How do we tackle that slow mental translation process directly?
Right, we need to rewire the brain for speed. This brings us to mental fluency and technique number 3. Learn language in chunks. This directly attacks the problem of learning vocabulary as single, isolated words.
Okay, we know single words are slow because of that 5-step translation nightmare. But break down again why just knowing individual words is so inefficient for speaking.
Think about it. A single word, like go or friend or yesterday, is just a static piece of data. To actually use it in a sentence, your brain has to do work. It has to retrieve the word, then apply grammar rules. Okay, go needs to be went for the past tense. Does friend need a or the? Then arrange it correctly. All that takes processing time. Fluent speakers don't really operate that way most of the time. Their brains aren't constantly doing grammatical calculations for common phrases.
So how do they do it? What's the alternative?
They access language in ready-made blocks, chunks. Technique number 3 is about shifting your focus. Stop memorizing single words. Start memorizing and practicing whole phrases, common sentence patterns, groups of words that often go together.
Give us some examples of these chunks.
Chunks are fixed or semi-fixed phrases where the grammar is already baked in. Things like, I'm going to, I'd like to, it depends on, nice to meet you, how's it going, see you later. On the other hand,
Uh,
I haven't seen you in ages. These are units.
Okay, so instead of building, I'm looking forward to seeing you from individual words.
Your brain just grabs the whole chunk, I'm looking forward to, adds the activity, seeing you, maybe 2 or 3 mental grabs instead of 5 or 6 plus grammar checks.
Right. It bypasses most of those slow translation steps. You don't have to worry about the 2 plus ing rule for look forward to because the chunk already has it built in.
Exactly. It dramatically cuts down the mental processing load. You become less of a sentence builder and more of a sentence selector. You just grab the right prefabricated chunk for the situation. This is huge EE for speed.
That feels like a total game changer, like having keyboard shortcuts for common sentences. Okay, but big question, how do I make sure the chunks I'm learning are actually natural and correct? I don't want to memorize weird-sounding phrases. Where do I find good chunks?
Excellent question. You absolutely do not want to just translate phrases from your native language or rely solely on apps. You need authentic input. Get your chunks from real English. Listen to how native speakers actually talk in podcasts, interviews, TV shows, movies. Read articles and blog posts. When you notice a phrase being used repeatedly, especially common conversational bits like, to be honest, or as far as I know, or what do you mean by, that's a potential chunk.
So I hear someone say, I'm really into photography lately. I shouldn't just learn photography. I should grab the whole pattern. I'm really into hobby interest.
Precisely. That structure, I'm really into plus noundrend, is your useful, reusable chunk. You're collecting functional prepackaged language units, not just isolated words.
Okay, that makes sense. Collect them from real sources. Now, how do we actively practice using these chunks so they become automatic?
You need deliberate practice. Take a common, useful sentence structure, a skeleton phrase. Let's use something simple, like, I went for a yesterday. Don't just know this structure exists. You need to actively create variations and practice saying them until they roll off the tongue. This leads into technique number 4, systematic chunk variation practice.
Okay, so I went for a yesterday, I could practice saying. I went for a run yesterday. I went for a coffee yesterday. I went for a walk yesterday. I went for a swim yesterday. Like that.
Perfect. You generate maybe 3 to 5 variations using that fixed frame,
Yeah.
and you say them out loud repeatedly, get them smooth. Then pick another useful frame, like I'm planning to this weekend, and do the same thing. I'm planning to relax. I'm planning to see my family. I'm planning to study English.
Ah, I see. So when the situation comes up in conversation, my brain doesn't build the sentence from scratch. It just grabs the practice chunk and maybe changes the last word.
Exactly. You're moving from slow construction to fast selection. That's the mental key to fluency.
This feels much less intimidating than trying to master all of English grammar at once. Focus on the useful bits first.
And here's a bonus technique that ties both the physical and mental together beautifully. Technique number 5, shadowing.
Shadowing, I've heard of that. It sounds intense. How does it work for fluency?
Shadowing is basically listening to a short piece of English audio, maybe a minute from a podcast or a news report, and speaking it out loud at the same time as the original speaker, or just a fraction of a second behind them. You're mimicking their exact words, speed, rhythm, and intonation as closely as you can. Why is this so powerful? It forces your brain and mouth to work together at native speed. You cannot pause to translate because the audio keeps moving. It trains your ear to catch the nuances of connected speech and rhythm, and it forces your mouth to keep up, physically producing the language nonstop.
Wow, okay. That does sound challenging. Trying to talk perfectly in sync with someone else.
It is. So start easy. Find audio that's clear and maybe slightly slower than normal conversational speed. Listen once just to understand. Maybe listen again while reading a transcript if you have one. Then try shadowing. Don't worry about perfection at first. Just focus on keeping up with the pace. Gradually increase the speed and complexity of the audio as you get better. It's a fantastic drill for forcing continuous output.
Okay, that's 5 techniques now. Minimum speaking hours, accepting nerves, speed reading, singing, chunking with variation practice, and shadowing. That's a solid toolkit.
It really is. Yeah. And now, let's see the power of this chunking thing in action.
You want me to try it? Live?
Yeah.
Right now? Uh-oh. Okay.
Let's do that chunk variation practice. I'll give you a common question. Ready? What are your plans for the weekend? I want you to use the starting chunk I'm thinking about and give me 3 quick, fluent answers. Go.
Okay. Takes a breath. I'm thinking about cleaning my apartment. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about going for a long bike ride. I'm thinking about calling my parents.
Nice. See how smooth that was? You didn't hesitate. You didn't search for grammar. You grabbed the chunk I'm thinking about and
Yeah.
just slotted in the activity. That felt different, right?
It really did. It felt preloaded. Like the main part was already there. I just had to add the ending.
Yeah.
No translation required. That felt much faster.
That's the feeling. Selection, not construction. Okay, so building on that, here's the homework for everyone listening. Tonight, pick one common question you often get asked, one that maybe makes you freeze up a bit, like, what did you do today? Or tell me about your job, or what kind of music do you like?
Okay, pick one question. Then what?
Then, create 5 different answers using the chunking strategy. Write them down as complete phrases. Make sure they sound natural. Then practice saying those 5 answers out loud until they feel smooth and automatic. The goal is, if someone asks you that question tomorrow, you have 5 fluent, ready-to-go responses locked and loaded.
That's super practical. Building a little arsenal of fluent answers for common situations. Love it.
Right. Gives you immediate wins and builds confidence. Okay, now for the final technique. Number 6. This is the big one. It wraps everything together. It's probably the scariest, but the most crucial.
Uh-oh. The final boss.
Chuckles. Kind of. It's simple. Have one real English conversation with a real person sometime this week.
One actual conversation. That's the challenge.
That's the challenge. We've talked about training the mouth, speed reading, singing, shadowing. We've talked about training the brain, chunking. But none of that fully prepares you like the real thing. The pressure, the unpredictability, the need to listen and respond quickly, That only comes from a live conversation. You need to take all that practice and actually test it under real conditions. Test your mouth speed, test your chunk library. That real-world pressure is what truly cements the learning.
Okay, remind us again quickly, where can people find someone for this one conversation if they're feeling stuck?
Remember the resources. Online language exchange platforms, Tandem, HelloTalk, etc. Paid tutors or conversation partners, iTalki, Cambly. Discord servers, local meetup groups. Be proactive for just 30 minutes to find one person for one chat this week.
And what's the final word for the person listening who's thinking, but I'm going to mess up. I won't understand everything. It'll be embarrassing.
What I tell my students, and what the most successful ones internalize, is this.
Yeah.
You will mess up. You probably won't understand everything perfectly the first few times. It might feel awkward or embarrassing. Accept it. That's not failure. That's feedback. Every time you don't understand, that tells you what listening skills to work on. Every time you make a mistake and realize it, that tells you what grammar, point, or chunk you need to practice more. The messiness is essential data collection for improvement. You can't get better without putting yourself out there.
So embrace the messiness. Feel the fear. Do it anyway. Learn from it.
Exactly. And honestly, just doing it once breaks a massive psychological barrier. The second conversation might still be nerve-wracking, but it will feel easier than the first. That first real conversation is the biggest hurdle to clear. Take the leap.
Challenge issued. Okay, let's do a super quick recap of these 6 powerful techniques to shift from studying to speaking.
Let's bullet point them. 6 steps to real fluency flow.
1. Commit to speaking. Minimum 2 to 3 hours per week. Actually, talking is the only way to improve talking.
2. Accept the nerves. Don't wait to feel confident. Feel the fear and speak anyway. It's part of the process.
3. Daily mouth workout. Use speed reading practice on easy texts to build physical articulation speed.
4. Make it fun with the singing method. Sing along to English songs to force speed, rhythm, and natural intonation.
5. Rewire your brain with chunking. Learn and practice language and phrases, not isolated words. Use systematic chunk variation, girls.
And 6. Test it all. Use shadowing to push your speed, and crucially, have at least one real conversation this week. Apply the practice.
Now, don't feel like you have to implement all 6 immediately. That might be overwhelming. Just pick one technique that resonated with you today. Maybe start with the chunking homework or 5 minutes of speed reading. Master that one first, make it a habit, then add another.
Absolutely. Consistency with one thing is better than trying everything and sticking with nothing. And the final thought we want to leave you with today, especially if you're feeling stuck at that intermediate level.
Yeah.
Remember this. Fluency isn't knowledge you accumulate, like history facts. Fluency is a skill you build, like playing guitar or riding a bike. You cannot study your way to fluency. You have to practice your way there.
That's the core message. Are you treating English like a subject to know or a skill to perform? That changes everything.
Let's know which technique you're going to try first. We genuinely love hearing about your progress. Take that first step.
Until our next deep dive, keep practicing those chunks. Keep talking, even to yourself.
And keep pushing through those moments of discomfort. That's where the magic happens.